You're listening to Candidate Conversations on the WIDU Radio Network. I'm your host, Jay Reinstein, and with me today I have Congressman David Rouzer running for re-election, his seventh time. He's in District 7. Welcome to Candidate Conversations, Congressman Rouzer.
Well, great to be with you today.
Really appreciate it. So tell us what you think the top issue in your district will be, and when you're meeting with voters, how does that conversation go? What are you hearing from voters as the top issue?
Well, I think most people are struggling with the cost of living, which is directly related to inflation, particularly the high levels of inflation that we've had in the past several years. And quite honestly, is a result of Congress overspending during the previous administration. And then the previous administration's war on American energy. Energy prices went up. You had a lot of excess spending by the federal government. And as economists say, when you have too much money following too few goods, you get significant inflation, and that's what we had. I don't remember the exact figures, but it was 8% one year, I think about 9% another year. And all that is compounding. Inflation is a very, very incredible tax in the sense that it compounds every year. So even though inflation now on an annual basis is about 2.5% or so, maybe a little less, that's still 2% or better on top of all the previous years. And it's the reason why people feel it when they go and shop, whether it's for groceries or clothes or anything else. And there's only one way to get out of it and get out of it responsibly, and that is you got to increase productivity. And you do that by putting in place a very pro-growth agenda, which is what we've been working on this Congress. You unleash American energy and drive energy prices down, which I think most Americans see that at the gas pump. You reform the regulatory environment so that you don't have unnecessary rules and regulations, which add a tremendous amount of cost that's passed on to the consumer. You have a tax code that incentivizes investment, and you have easy access to capital, which we've done a lot of work this Congress to make capital more accessible to the average person, and certainly for our small businesses. And then you got to have a qualified and hardworking workforce, which our local universities and colleges and community colleges do a great job of helping to provide for that in North Carolina. So I'd say overall it's cost of living, and the reason why that's such a challenge right now is for all the reasons I just laid out.
No, I appreciate it. Again, talking to Congressman David Rouzer. He has served 6 terms, running for a 7th term, District 7. If elected, what would be one concrete thing you'd want to deliver for your district in this next term?
Well, I'm currently in line to serve as chairman of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Of course, that assumes Republicans would keep the majority in the House. And that also assumes that the steering vote, which is the steering committee, is the committee that determines chairmanships. If that were held today, we already had the election and kept the House, I would be the new chairman. So all things staying the same, that would provide me an opportunity to do even more for the state of North Carolina and certainly more for the district. We're currently working on a highway bill. I'm chairman of the Highways and Transit Subcommittee on the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. And the highway bills expire at the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. And so this is a must-pass bill, and we're working hard to put together legislation that will stretch the federal dollar so that we can get even more projects achieved in each individual state, including here in North Carolina. Part of that is permit reform, going back to the regulatory reform I was talking about earlier. That adds tremendous amount of cost, and the more costly these infrastructure projects are, the longer they take, and the less the federal dollar can accomplish in terms of rebuilding our roads and bridges and building the new roads and bridges that we need, not to mention all the other infrastructure issues. And so that's a priority front and center. We have a very strong, growing state. Certainly in the 7th Congressional District, we've seen a huge influx of population just over the last several years, particularly since COVID. And we have a lot of infrastructure issues. So I will continue to work on all of those. Veterans, we have a high population of veterans, large population of veterans in the district. I have a Veterans Advisory Council. We meet at least twice a year, and they do an incredible job of helping to keep me apprised of all the issues related on that front. So veterans, infrastructure, disaster recovery reform. People are quite familiar with FEMA. They're quite familiar with the challenges that we face in terms of long-term recovery. I've had a bill that I've introduced over the last several years, continue to build support for it. In fact, last year, we were able to get it out of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, which, by the way, has jurisdiction over FEMA. Basically, it was a reform bill to improve disaster recovery long-term for those who need the help. And there's still a few folks out there from Hurricanes Matthew and Hurricanes Florence that don't have the housing that they need, which is just unbelievable to me, very, very frustrating, and it's one of the reasons why I continue to work on this long-term recovery bill. So those are a couple of items that I will continue to focus on with great vigor. And then, of course, as you probably know, we were able to achieve federal recognition for the Lumbee tribe, which they had been seeking. They had been seeking that for 138 years or so, and so we were finally able to get that across the finish line. I congratulate them for their tenacity and their dedication and hard work all these years, and was just really pleased to be a part of that effort to achieve it. But we will continue to work hard on that front to make sure the tribe gets the benefits that they deserve. And also, to help them attract and create a business climate in the area that I think has the potential to be second to none and really transform the entire area. So all those things we'll be focused on.
You are doing a lot for the citizens of Cumberland County and the state of North Carolina, Congressman Rouzer. So I have to ask you, Congress definitely has a reputation for gridlock, and it seems like that's been the case for quite a while. How can you continue to be an effective representative rather just another partisan voice?
Well, I have a lot of really great relationships with my colleagues, and some of my best friends are the chairman of the various subcommittees on appropriations, what they're referred to as cardinals in Washington lingo. And these are folks that are on the Appropriations Committee and have risen up over the years and built the seniority and expertise to chair the subcommittees on the Appropriations Committee. And that's where you get a lot of your work done, because the Appropriations Committee produces, or is supposed to produce, certainly tries to produce every year, an appropriations package that funds all discretionary spending for the federal government, which accounts for about 25% of the total federal budget. But that includes defense. North Carolina is a major, obviously military state with the bases that we have here, and certainly the veteran population that we talked about earlier. So that's a really important package. We get a lot done for the state of North Carolina through that appropriations bill. And then you got all the other appropriations bills, too, that fund the balance of the discretionary programs that are in law. And so that's where you can get a lot of your work done, particularly when everything else is kind of ground to a halt. Certainly, the big picture issues, when you talk about taxes or health care reform and those things, there's a pretty strong political divide, and it's a little more difficult. But one thing I love about the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and also the Agriculture Committee where I serve, is historically those two committees have been very strong bipartisan committees. Every member of Congress has a road or a bridge. That's in every district around the country. And in agriculture is such a very important committee, too. We have a strong agriculture base in North Carolina. And so the farm programs that we have in place and export programs we have in place to enhance our opportunity to sell products overseas, farm products overseas, is really critically important. So really it gets down to relationships, the relationships that you have on your side of the aisle and also the relationships that you build on the other side of the aisle. And I have a lot of those. But I will say this, and people get a little frustrated with the gridlock, but our founders intended for it to be that way. Mm-hmm. They understood very well that what they had put in place was as good as it was ever going to get, and left to our own devices, we could screw it up really, really fast. And so they did not make it easy to get anything done. In the House, you have 435 members. You got to have a majority vote at 218 to get anything passed. And it's not easy to even get 5 people on the same page, much less 218.
Absolutely.
That represent very different parts of the country that have very different viewpoints and needs as well. And then in the Senate, most people don't realize that to end debate on just about any particular piece of legislation, you got to get 60 votes in order to move forward on the bill. And, of course, neither party in recent years has had anywhere close to 60 votes. Right now, Republicans have 53. And so they're 7 votes short. So anything that passes the House that gets to the Senate, you got to get through the filibuster first and get the 60 votes to end debate and move to a final vote. And there are a couple exceptions to that rule, but by and large, if it's a policy-oriented proposal or bill, you got to get 60 votes. So that's why so much happens in the House and quickly, usually, and then it kind of really slows down to a grind and in many cases a halt in the Senate. Because the other thing our founding fathers understood very well is what might be the majority opinion and what might be the most popular stance may not be the best stance, may not be the best solution, to the problem. They wanted to force consensus. And if they couldn't get a consensus, they wanted to force a compromise. So it's actually served the country really, really well to have a Congress that's in gridlock, because it's kept a lot of bad stuff from happening.
Well, that's good to hear. So, again, we're talking to Congressman David Rouzer, running for his 7th term. He's in District 7. Finally got to ask you, there are a number of candidates running. Why are you the best choice compared to some of the other candidates in the race?
Well, sure. I look at it this way. My experience set, the work that I have done over all these years, I have seen just about every issue from every possible angle. I started out my career working for U.S. Senator Jesse Helms, later Elizabeth Dole, when she was in the Senate, served in the Bush administration under George W. Bush at USDA Rural Development. So I've seen the executive branch and the bureaucracy there and learned to navigate that quite well, which comes in really handy when you're trying to solve issues for your constituents. So I have a lot of experience in that regard. I was in the state Senate for 2 terms and was a real champion along with my buddy Harry Brown, who was in the state Senate at the time as well. He and I headed up the Regulatory Reform Commission because we recognize that all the rules and regulations, the volume of them, and the contradictory nature of them were really causing setbacks in the state of North Carolina. We totally reformed the regulatory apparatus in the state. And now, as a result of those efforts and the continual efforts of the state legislature, North Carolina continues to rank number 1, if not any less than number 2. But mostly, in the last several years, we've been ranked number 1 as far as I've been able to tell from my read from my reading. And a lot of that goes back to the regulatory reform, efforts. And so also for a period of time, had my own consulting business where I was helping other businesses with their marketing and sales and that type of thing, as well as advocating for those that were trying to work through the maze of Washington, D.C. Worked for NC State University for about a year and a half there at the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, where we were working to promote all the commodity programs, commodity crops in the state of North Carolina, which there are many. People don't realize North Carolina is a $110+ billion industry in agriculture, the number one industry in the state. It drives a lot of economic activity. If you look at this district, the reason why I'm on the infrastructure and, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the Ag Committee is because those two committees fit the district very, very well. I can address a lot of unique needs for this district sitting on those two committees, and at this point in time, I'm grown to be quite senior and more influential even on those committees. So, for all those reasons, I think I provide a good opportunity to advance the best interest of the district and take care of the constituents.
And again, thank you so much for joining us today. We know that you are very busy doing important things for the citizens of North Carolina, District 7. Again, we've been talking to Congressman David Rouzer, running for his 7th term in Congress. Thanks for joining us today on Candidate Conversations on WIDU.
To be with you.
Really appreciate it. And until next time, have yourselves a great day.